Nothing huge? Nothing interesting? Really? Nothing to report, huh? Wow. Surprise. What's up, Bomar? Figured there'd be something interesting at least. Not even worth going back and watching the VOD or anything. Alright. What is... By the way, what is RF4 Bait Finder? If I put on Volkov... That's weird. Okay. Interesting. Nice safe there, Centric. Yeah, what's up, Silent of Trains? Live bait rework upgrades, but it doesn't look to be very soon. Okay. SoCal, huh? Interesting. What am I trying to find? I'm trying to find where am I going to fish on M-Dog. That's what I'm trying to find. I assumed copper. Somebody just in our Discord caught one of those rare carp trophies, and that kind of makes me want to just go sit there since we're going to be doing a lot over here anyway. So maybe something that's not quite as active a bite rate as what we did yesterday. Although... Oh, is temperature low now? Oh, it's reduced temperature. So that post was probably when the temperature was normal, right? But look at this Funny Tinch trophy. What is that on? Just cream? Oh, no. Cocoa and cream, it looks like. Pretty good silver. I mean, maybe that's worth trying. It doesn't look like it's... I mean, it's not going to be slow, but it's not insane bite rate. Yo, Awesome Sauce, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate that. All right, that's just right here, right? 67.58. It looks like they were using a Clip 5, which is absolutely insane. So let's try to duplicate. Look, if I'm seeing it correctly, though, they were using cocoa and cream, not just cream, but they got the Funny Tinch trophy, which I think is amazing. That's always really fun. Yeah, so the temperature it wasn't that long ago the temperature switched, huh? Clip 5. Yo, Superman, good morning. We did copper in Norway, it's too great. Now we need to nerf them later. Wait, what? Dark Q, are you quoting? What's going on here? We need to nerf them later, so now we release nerf map. If it needed, we buff it so people will be more happy. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Dark U? I don't understand this. RJP. Fairly new player watching your streams from the Netherlands. Greetings. Let us know if you have any questions. I hope you're having fun. Thank you, Superman. Is that Barbel spot still active? I'm not sure. Video before new maps, so probably like 2 months or so. Yeah. I mean, they're on their normal. I mean, that's normal for their timetable on this stuff, right? Well, I don't know if you're just like being a little snarky or if that really is like what they said, but now you definitely have made me want to go back and listen to the VOD. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly, but it looks like they've got, again, not cream, but cocoa and cream. And Coco's nectar. And I don't know if I have any like Coco copper stuff. Oh, I do have Coco for copper, so we could start off with this. Oh, we've got a couple of them. All right, let's start off with this one. And then 5-meter clip, which again just seems insane. Are you sure it's not 6-meter clip, y'all? I am like back away from the shore just slightly. There's no way. I'm gonna go 6. I mean, if it's really right there, especially at night, either way, we're gonna be able to see those fish coming right up at it. Alright, are we catching anything other than small pike? Yeah, that's a chub. That's kind of what we were getting a lot of yesterday. Maybe we should try on one of these setups. Try one of the Volkov spoons. Just so we have a combination of spinnerbait and spoon going. Because the challenge just says it has to be like the size of the ooh, salmon. Why did it do that? The size of the setup, not the size of the... It doesn't have to be on a spinnerbait. Now again, I have 0 bites so far. Let's just see how it goes, and then we can be looking for other spot opportunities maybe. If this ends up being too slow. Ooh. Actually, they're about the same size fish, whatever they are. Alright, so the spoon caught an eyed. And the spiker caught something very small, a Vindus. I think I'm gonna go, yeah, just up this way and then flip around. Alright, chat, so what's good with everybody? It's not quote, but between the line it sounded like that. After Copper and Norway released, they looked in stats and it was not what they expected. So they nerfed some stuff. Now they want to avoid this. Oh, you're not saying they've got to nerf it again. You're saying as soon as it released, they realized that people were farming squid and that's not what they intended, kind of thing. We're all a little Coco for Copper. Heck yeah. So it looks like we will get nerfed version, and if need, they will buff it. Cypher will be very hyped, so maybe he reads something more out of it, but from my point of view, nothing very interesting. Analysis paralysis. Squid and Halley. Yeah, I do remember that, Dark U. That's true. And not only the squid, but the Halley as well. So, Doriza, have you... I mean, what ended up being helpful for me was to literally just... First of all, like, is there anything that I feel like fishing for? So, like... right now, I was thinking, like, oh, I kind of want to go catch a bunch of bleak. See if we can get a trophy bleak. Turn them into a 50 bait fish, and then go try to fish for pike. That's what kind of sounds fun for me. But first, I saw that post about catching burbot off the dock, and I was like, actually, let's try that first. That sounds cool. So while we're trolling around, I actually could be getting these set up right here. So we're gonna put these on combination of bait. I actually probably will do basic bottom with large 1/0 hooks, which means I might need to buy a couple hooks. And we're gonna do pieces of fish. I might put points into Basic bottom and loop rig. I'm going to keep this one on. I'm assuming I don't want to get any kind of ground bait or anything for this. And then we'll put this one on basic bottom. We could do 2-0 hook, 2 on 1. That could be interesting. You can't go too big for burbot. Like, there's just no such thing. That whitefish task, if that spot is still active, that's another thing I could work on today. That's a good idea. We'll see if we get there, but that's a good idea. Because I got to assess my gear to see, like, what's the best way to do it. But that whitefish task ended up not being that scary for me on M-Dog. Now, I don't know if that spot will still be as good as it was. By the way, if we don't lose the lure to a pike, and if it's not a Zander, this should be another fish that qualifies for the challenge. So it'll be a while for me though, because I really am thinking, I feel like float fishing for bleak at least a little bit, and then trying to see how the pike bite is. This thing is literally swimming circles around me. I'm going to switch directions on it and see if it tricks it. Oh, it's a nice chub, y'all. That's big enough, right? No, you're freaking kidding me. You're not kidding me, though. You're being honest with me. Okay, it's alright. Okay. It'll happen eventually. Volkov whitefish is kind of easy in the bottom middle island with mayfly larvae. The bottom middle island? So are you talking about like from the boat or from an actual island? You just float fishing off the island, or does it have to be float fish actually? It's been a while since I've looked at the whitefish one. Any rod. You don't have to float. You did do it with float? Okay. Have not had any interesting fish in this spot yet. The Balam. It will be a little more interesting for Santiago because I had sandwich bait on M-Dog, and that sandwich bait was working so good. The like stonefly mayfly or whatever. This seems just as bad as where we were trolling last time, if not worse. Bite rate should be through the roof with these small lures. You don't have that? Yeah. Yeah. Where's Angry German fishing at? Oh, Norway. Yeah, that's actually standard. That's pretty standard. That's great, but... I mean, once again... it's a pike, we might lose the lure. But if it's a chub or a salmon, it could be big enough. Just as a reminder, it needs to be 2 kilos, so 1.98 is it's close, you know, it's ballpark, but it's not quite there. Joe Kane, welcome to the stream. Trophy Journal, nice for Grats on level 4. Trophy Smelt from Fausch, nice fish. Hey, do the pike like the smelt better than the bleak? I was assuming we would go for bleak, but oh no, bleak are fine. Now, a lot more people are using bleak, but no, I have not. I mean, I did that on my main account. I'm nowhere near being ready to do that again. Let me say that. That was a fairly intense challenge for me. I did find some good posts on VK though. That helped me just like have a starting point, an idea of what to do, what to go for. At least the pike have been small. Wow, you got your trophy on white bream? That's cool. Yeah, gudgeon and bleak, I would say, from my standpoint. There's probably other creative ideas too, but according to how nice your ultralight setup is, at least you know your ultralight can handle those. Yeah, pike I guess like all of those options, don't they? We're gonna just troll right over towards the dock so we can get set up for burbot. I'm not mentally tough enough today to work on trolling Volkov, I can tell. You got yours on bleak, 2 trophies. Yeah, see, that's the other thing I was thinking is like, if we go farm bleak for the pike, maybe we'll get one of our trophies in there. That, what, 87 spot or something at Mosquito? Probably as good as any. What size hook did you end up using, Dark U? did the 4-aught? Maybe that decreases chance of some of those perch and stuff. I mean, there's about only one fish this could be. We're literally trolling through pike country here. Wow, is that just on Fly Dark Hue? Do you have sandwich or no? What size hook were you using for those? Oh, sandwich pearl barley. Interesting. 24. Okay. I thought that the big bleak were coming out on flies right now. But it sounds like you're doing really well on pearl barley. So maybe we do one of each. How many ultralight float telescope? Do they have to be telescopic? What is that challenge? No, any rod. But I'm not gonna do like chances of us hitting a trophy on not as good. What was I just looking at? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like a pylon or something, or like a pallet, a broken down wooden pallet in the water. You can actually stand on that wooden thing if you want to. So we have 1, 2. We'll be doing it with 2, which I think is fine. 1 bleak, one pearl barley. Now some people were saying that bleak was pretty good here on the Volkov dock, but we're more here for burbot right now. $70.87. Kind of want to get this boat out of the way if I can. Out of the way. Alright, so let's see. What was I looking under? Oh yeah. Alright, 164, 109, which is right here. And we're going to go with .25 clip. And I think I am at a point, we've got plenty of points that I don't mind doing some points in the bottom rig. And we've already got points in loop rig, so that's good. And then I think I'm going to go 1-0 hook on this one as well. Oh man, they were using PVA though. So that means we could spot it. Let's just test it real quick. .105.92. Oh shoot. Think that spot's gonna be better? Yo, Disco, what's up? You got yours at 105.92 as well? On fish pieces, y'all? Prize that did not get a nibble out here. It was just yesterday somebody was talking about this, right? Probably had it too close. Let's see. All right. This is kind of cool. Oh, you got yours on Nightcrawler. Okay. All right, that is a tench. Yeah. This is my 14th stream since the task came out. And all of them have been uploaded to YouTube. Pretty much I start with the free-to-play ones, and then I transition to the premium ones, although obviously some of them do overlap a little bit. So I did not divide them by task. I have not done like a lot of work trying to organize it. But if you want to go back and just kind of see, we're at 70% bait harvesting. See me working on different tasks. The videos are out there. Yo, what's up, Rich? How are you? Does anybody have the ability to whisper me the link of the YouTube channel where the interview is being kept? Or the Twitch channel? I mean, I don't know. Wherever I can watch it at, if that exists yet. Maybe they haven't uploaded it yet. Just got in from work. Nice, Rich. You always have to work on Sundays? Yeah, I mean, this worked out really good for us just in the sense that I'm sitting here waiting for burbot time. But that other spot y'all are talking about, maybe... Oh, there's a funny tench. So you're saying there's a chance. Fish got away. Alright, funny tench or at least possible here. I moved to 6 meter clip, by the way. That 5 is just too short. I felt like we were hardly in the water. Okay. Okay, thank you, Dark You. Yeah, if I can, even if I see the Twitch video, if it's available to go through, I was just gonna like scroll through it a little bit. No, apparently there wasn't a lot of update in there, Rich. Nothing from folks that watched it. They're telling me there wasn't a whole lot notable. Twitch VODs are off. Okay. Well, don't worry about it. It'll be there eventually. Yo, we're just getting extra bleak here. This is great. So on copper, I'm using Cocoa IS. I will tell you, it has not been very good so far. But with the temperature change at copper, there might not be anything that's all that good. The thing is, I do have one tench and one funny tench so far. So um, that trophy is at least possible. And we do have the fairly easy funny tench order with 49 hours left on it. So that's probably guarantee might be a little strong, but you pretty much, especially if you have PVA, you're going to be able to probably hit that funny tench order because it's just 750 grams. Super Freak. Those seem like not very active here right now though. So far it's been Crucian, Gibble, Tench, Funny Tench. Thank you, Dark. You about to pull it up. See what you sent me. I'm guessing it's just a link to where it will eventually be, perhaps. Yep, another Crucian. So we are literally, except when the Tench come in, we're mostly catching Crucian Gibbles at Copper right now. Twitch and YouTube soon. Okay, thank you, Rich. Okay, so you're doing the salmon tuna spot. You're getting F1s. So still chance of F1 trophy. I mean, that's probably the better bet, to be honest. I don't know how annoying that will be for you guys, but if the VOD comes up on Twitch or YouTube and I find out about it, I might just kind of watch some of it and do a little reaction to some things if we can actually find some like entertaining content in there. Uh-oh, Steelhead. Well, maybe I won't do that. We'll see. So if you were going into it with like the lowest expectations, do you think I might enjoy it at all? Were they just not willing to share anything, Steelhead? Or I've always found conversations with Joe have always been so helpful, so it's kind of hard for me to imagine unless there's just like strict instructions that they're not allowed to share stuff right now. Because it was what, Joe and Levo? Is that who joined him? $62.53 salmon tuna. You just doing corn, or are you doing a combination of boilies and corn, IS? I'm gonna mark myself a note here in case that ends up looking good. Too much chit chat, lots of questions about dumb stuff. So they might have been willing to share. You're not sure. It's hard to say. All right, there's a Crucian. All right, I think I want to go with the fish pieces on all three, just because, you know, that's what the report was that this is what's working good. So I want to at least try it before we start doing other stuff. If we have to go to that other spot, I guess we can. This is a mussel, worm, crab mix. I'm trying to call this something that I'll easily find it. You use this same mix or very similar to this mix. We're going to end up trophying Gibble here, aren't we? On so many different things. So if I call it like Volkov Burbot, that's actually not capturing all of the things that this recipe is so useful for. Sturgeon, catfish, sterlet, burbot. Although burbot don't care. Catfish doesn't care either. You don't have to PVA or spod for burbot. This is just like kind of for fun, to be honest, but we'll do it. When they asked, it's painful to watch. And asked about live bait, they told they can't talk about that since this is the only confirmed change. Sounds like, Dark Hue, that the few things that you did get out of it, you're sort of having to read between the lines. So was nothing just like clearly stated as, you know what I mean? Like, it was an alright session, but it was pretty obvious they couldn't talk about some stuff. And for some, they didn't want to make promises. Steelhead says, I think they were willing. Salmon, tuna, PVA for copper. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So that's working good, huh? I already have what you said documented on the spot and everything, so I've just added that to it. Salmon corn only was good for 750 in 2 hours. Okay, interesting. Nothing was definitive in my opinion. Okay, gotcha. See if we can find another funny Tinch chat. That would be so cool. Another nice crucian. And I think this has a fish on. What kind of... Yeah, we're just running carp leaders. That should be fine. We could do a fluorocarbon on one just to mix it up. Don't think they care, but we'll do that just, again, for some variety. Alright, there's a regular Tinch. Yeah, you really got to be okay with a lot of Gibble crucians. Chance of funny Tinch, but a lot of Gibble crucians. %2% to full PVA, that's awesome. They didn't provide any direct answers or dates. Everything was abstracted or read between lines. Or, like Steelhead said, just chit-chat. .2, yeah, I mean, we're getting there. Maybe we won't have to go to that other spot. We'll see. Alright, it's nighttime, so we should be able to see these fish pretty good. This actually looks like a leather carp. Is that a leather carp in there? Well, let's see how good we can call the fish through the murky waters here. Yeah, that's nice little leather. Okay. I'm at a 6 clip. Oh, 25 for the burbot, by the way. I'm at 6 on copper. What am I looking for here? I think I was going to see, because I couldn't remember, and I'm not going to say what I'm looking for because if I said it out loud, you would answer me, but because of the stream delay, I wouldn't see the answer until I already knew the answer. So now you just have to sit here and watch me run around guessing, and you had the answer all along, you know? You had the answer all along. Got to be under miscellaneous, right? There she is, chat. Yo, did we just double up on... No, that's a super freak. Looks like we have a fish on, though. Our binoculars page is going crazy. I don't know how y'all play without binoculars, by the way. If any of y'all are like, you know, level 29 or higher and don't have binoculars, I am impressed with your discipline. It could have been more productive if they just focused on the Q&A, leaving out Bream Comp, challenges, selling old equipment, changing regions, and so much more that took up so much time. Love the binoculars and the rod pod. Yeah, me too. That looks like that has a fish on. I know there's a fish somewhere. Okay, it's not that one. Well, there's one here. Small, though. I'm 35 and I don't have them. There you go. I admire your discipline. I got yours at level... You got yours at level 12? Wow. You didn't have the lamp till 29? Well, yeah. I actually... I am more... Yeah, I knew it was coming. There's Trophy Gibble, by the way. I am more understanding of not spending the silver on the lamp, because we do have our own little flashlight here. Now, the little lamps are nice, but, you know, now we're getting them for challenges, so you don't have to buy one necessarily. But for the binoculars, it's tough. It's tough for me. Snow Hallow also says 38, still don't have binoculars. Always wondered how to double zoom, just bought it at level 40. There you go. Now we can double zoom together. I do not have binoculars either. Gunny says I did not get binoculars to level 40. How do I get the double zoom in chat? There you go. Not because I have discipline, it's because I am broke. I never knew double zoom was a thing. Well, there you go. Double zoom it, folks. Wait, double zoom? Yeah. So if you don't have binoculars, you can only do that. But with binoculars, you can also do that. So it's nice. I think with float fishing, sometimes I like to really get zoomed in on the float and see what's happening. It's also just a quality of life thing. We're spending so much time just walking around waiting for fish. What's the practical application of that? The practical application is I've always wondered, are those air conditioning units, are they just like random boxes of metal with weird handles on top? Come on, Burbot. I'll feel a little silly if I didn't go over to the spot that all y'all were talking about if I don't get it here, so I need Burbot to come through for me. Because we're not doing a second night, at least not right now. We're going to go Mosquito Bleak. I'm in an F1, don't know how to use salmon or cream. What? You're in an F1 spot and you don't know, do I use salmon? Oh, you're asking which bait. I actually don't know. It sounds like salmon and tuna is working pretty good right now, but The weeklies are going to be on cream because for a while now, that's what everybody's been using, right? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, salmon is creeping up on one of the lists. 7186 looks like a hot bleak spot on mosquito. Yeah, for sure. Seagulls and bears. Yeah, that's right, Rich. I agree. They did say that some of the older maps, 7 years, need to be upgraded. That would be Sura and Volkov. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what's up, Screeter? Yes, and I am obviously, I am being a little dramatic here. I would put binoculars in the same category as lamps and pickers. It's a luxury item, not something to focus on initially unless you just really want that really want that quality of life. Hey, you got 2 for 1. Ooh. Might be a little undersized, but it's at least thinking about it, right? A decent little burbot. I think we got to get off Volkov. Volkov has just got a weird feel to it right now. We're hitting like, we're grams away from the fish we need, and that's, I don't know. It's a little awkward. I imagine that burbot fish pieces are really good fish pieces. But I suspect. That last one was 4 kilos away, if that feels better. That's funny. Yeah, I'm glad that I stumbled into this, because if nothing else, even if we don't get it here, we know that this is a possibility. And then we have the other spot that y'all are talking about too. I guess so, Left, although I sure do love mine. I would be willing to give up many things if it meant I could keep this ride pod on my main account. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's definitely not necessary. Does not improve your bite rate. You could argue it improves your recognition of bites, but especially on float fishing. I've noticed that on float fishing, if you're using Bolo or Match, those sensitive alarms do a really good job of drawing your attention to, hey, you might be catching something soon. Nice gibble there, Zig. think 7 a.m. or so is going to have to be our target time because we're going to go try to do pretty well on 2.2. We did a leader, we would want it to be so small. Has it ever released how much of a bonus points it skills it gives for catching trophies? I don't think we have exact numbers. I think what we do know is that if you're choosing between your overall percentage of bottom fishing versus having points in a rig type, the percentage of bottom fishing matters more than the points in the rig type. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean this doesn't matter at all. It matters to some degree, chance of catching trophy, but I don't think we have specifics. We don't know what that does to the random number generator or whatever. For sure. Yeah. When choosing between bonuses, even if you're at 100%, you'd rather have the bonus that gives additional percentage points towards bottom fishing than of one that gives bonus points towards the rig type, if that's the choice. Many of them do both, but yeah. That's our understanding. Yeah, I think Steelhead's probably right. If we actually knew the amount it changed, is probably pretty slim, but every little bit helps, I suppose. Oh, interesting, Dark Hue. I just don't think it could be that high. Personally, but... Well, actually, wait, what are we saying here? It's so complicated. Every fish species is different on how often you can catch a trophy, or how likely you are to get a trophy. Types of fishing changes it, baits changes it, and then you've just got the normal migration changes that happen day to day, week to week, month to month. But if we're just going to, like, for example, say that, okay, there's this one fish, and if you're fishing for it in the optimal way, you have a, point. What's like the highest we would think it would be? It's never going to be 1%. You've got 0.5% chance of getting a trophy. Well, 5% of 0.5%, that's a very small number. So, could that be right? Who knows? That's right. So you're right, Trains. Our brains went to the same place. Yeah. Even if it is 5%, when applied to catching a trophy, it's going to be a tiny, tiny impact. Can't tell, but I think I have a fish on this first line. Just like, I guess, kind of small, just sneaking away down the shore. Tench. Not funny, but it is a tench. Okay. I think I'm very comfortable in only fishing with 2 rods, but I was just trying to remember how much is sort of the least expensive telescopic ultralight, in case somebody was That's funny that I have the 4-meter one. So it's 388 silver. I also like this guy here. It's a little bit more expensive. Goes up to 2.6 versus 2.2. So it's not much strength-wise. But I've always liked that one. And I guess your next one is going to be what? Soul Pole 5? That's getting very expensive, and it's only up at 3.5. So. Sura has ultralight telly? It's a pretty expensive one though, right? We're talking about Seversky, maybe, Odin? 3.1 for around 1,000, maybe? So it's kind of in between those two in the store we were looking at. But if you're just doing it for this challenge, you probably just get the very cheapest, unless you're just wanting to have a pretty nice one yourself. Seversky? Okay. Alright, it's almost time. We got like 8 minutes. Oh, if we should do this real quick, and then we'll go. Okay. Double check cafe. Sell the fish. Double check the lines. Fast travel. All right, what did this person, what is your name? Zucky? What did he post to fishing spot and info? Copper Lake 6758, net for 1 hour. I throw ground bait with spod every in real life 15 minutes. Well, that's good silver, by the way. 115 fish. That is a very active bite rate. And this is using salmon corn. So if you're looking for silver at Copper, that might be the way to go. That's our second trophy here in this spot, though, by the way. And remember, even Gibble Crucian trophies are worth a ton at Copper, comparatively. Need to go fix some coffee. Let's wait till maybe noon so that we can enjoy some early morning bleak here. All right, I'm gonna go straight line for now. What do we have in the water on that one, by the way? Bob's. We could do Bob's here, just different color. Make it very obvious. Oh, it's too heavy. Why are we too heavy? So this is one thing to think about with these cheap ultralights. The heck? The test is only 5 grams. Is this hook that heavy? 0.25? This one's actually lighter. The fly weighs nothing. Okay, we can do the bistro. It's fine. Oh my goodness, guys. Now we've got another Crucian trophy. Crucian, Gibble, Gibble. Wow. Am I doing something wrong? Do I have the... How did I just get double roach here? That doesn't seem possible. What? Hold on. I'm 3 for 3 on roach, y'all. Alright, we got a bleak. Really? I guess if you're using pearl barley, you can catch everything. If you're on fly, usually, except for occasional frog, but I mean, I'm over here catching roach on fly. You did a little bit more to the right? Okay. Oh, really? F1, that's first F1 in this spot. Is there a ground bait for bleak? What the Crucian? Is there a ground bait for bleak? Not that I know of. Not that I know of, but who knows? What the chub? Chub on fly? What is this world coming to? That's a big bleak. This is not a Crucian nor a Gibble. You got a 300 gram white bream? Wait, you caught a white bream off the surface? Also fairly unusual. Yeah, if you put flies and maggots and pearl barley in there, you might do some work on this bleak ground bait, to be honest. Just throw some in there. Actually just drop it in there. You don't really need to throw. Hey. Try squad. Wait, what does that mean? Most trophies were in the evening. Okay. That's probably a bleak, the way it just like took the bait like that. Oh, it's a frog. Huh. This spot has definitely changed. And it's not necessarily bad because we're still catching bleak, but and we can use roach for bait as well. But it's just definitely feels like it's changed. Yeah, worms would be fine too. I like this ground bait recipe we're coming up with. I would do pearl barley as the base. Too bad there's not like a... Don't know what attractant. You might just have to use a worm attractant, but I don't know if that's ideal. You could do it without an attractant. Actually. Another funny tench. That's 2 funny tench in this session. And I think I am going to go ahead and go turn that cafe order in for the funny tench because I don't want to forget about it. It's probably a nice little cafe order. Yeah, 111 silver for a small funny tench. Crazy. We're definitely going to be able to do this. Once again, oh, I don't want to use a trophy though. We're 1 gibble away from doing that one. So at least we got some cafe orders that are kind of supporting this spot a little bit. So military hammer, I'm on Cocos at copper right now. Good spot for golden tench on bear. I'm actually not sure. I've not fished at bear as much lately. You know what? I bet we are long out of PVA. And we didn't have that much PVA to start with, so let's at least put it on 1 or 2 of them. See all those nibbles this thing's doing? That's probably like a roach or something. But just in case. No, it's a bleak. Alright. So let's see. We had cocoa at copper. Here we go. I might put it on the next one that gets a fish too. Oh, are you 334 indoors? PVA mesh? Nope. Is this something we can send? Oh, wait, wrong account. Hold everything. Hold everything. Although I should have some on that account too. Is it under ground bait? Maybe? That's where it is in the store, right? Yeah, here's the mesh. Okay. Sent. Yo, Volpone, greetings. How are you? Welcome to the stream. 42, not bad. What are we going to be at? I bet we're at about 5 right now. 4. Pretty rough. Thankfully, we already had a couple. I think all of the ones I have over here are going to be totally spent, yeah. And we used most of them going for the Xander. The roach. Oh, those whitefish are brutal. Or they can be. Alright, so we gotta remember we've got roach and bleak right now. It's a frog, right? Just took off. No, it's a chub. Nice trophy mirror carp tenacious T. I feel like we're doing better on this right rod on the flies than we are on the pearl barley, but who knows? Well, since... Oh, crap. The other downside of pearl barley, I guess. 2 smelt trophies and 2 Rippus trophies? Wow. That's interesting. I think this probably is a good time to go get my coffee. Because we're hoping that evening might be where the trophy chances increase. Let me take a quick coffee break. Go fix it, and I'll be right back. There's a Tinch. Well, thank y'all for being here, and I'll be right back. Let me make sure this video isn't up, by the way. Although I don't know that I'm actually gonna... Yeah, no videos found. Not sure if I'm gonna watch it at this point. But yeah, I'll be right back. Came back for a funny tinge, chat. Wow. Alright, so I'm going to start off with one ride while I'm drinking my coffee for at least a minute. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe this isn't necessary. Yo, it's deadly over here right now. You know, Volkov might just be the better bet only because it's safer. I don't think that was a bleak anyway. Man, oh man. Yes, I finished the challenges on M-Dog. Now we're just going back through on Santiago and slowly working on them. That's bleak. How about you, Justin? Where are you at on them? Are you doing them? Yeah, Grats on level 30. Who was that? Overkill. Grats on level 30. Yo, Santiago's coming up on 30. 1.6 million to go. You've done half of the extra ones. Not that we'll hit it today, but this is a chance for one of our ultralight trophies, right? Because I think we have 0 so far. Yeah. It seems like if you put the time in on Bleak and Gudgeon, you'll probably hit it without too much. I mean, you could get unlucky for a few days, I guess, but it probably will come eventually. And hey, if nothing else, you're leveling up your float fishing. And making some decent silver, especially when you have, cafes. And in this situation, we're getting bait fish to hopefully get a lucky pike too, so. I'm like, I don't want to switch off Pearl Barley because of you having so many Pearl Barley trophies, but I just feel like that's a decent frog. I just feel like fly might be the way to go, especially without sandwich. That's a bleak. Oh. So bite rate does look slower from when you did it. Well, that could be the sandwich bait, though. I mean, sandwich bait does get a better bite rate often the times. Or it could just be weather or whatever. You just got the salmon? Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's another thing I haven't done on Santiago is Archie. What do you mean, how do you use Pilker Rod? Like, how do you fish at Norway? I mean, there's different answers to that, but doing the Pilker thing is just letting it get to the bottom and then using your right trigger to get that Pilker motion going. Are you talking about picker? Yeah, use it the same way you do a feeder. Pilker is for sea saltwater fishing. Picker is for small fish. Same way you would use it like a feeder. bleak. It's what's for dinner. You have any real recommendations for copper? You know, it's interesting. I'm actually at that point for Santiago. We've got 2 trips that we could do to copper if we want to use the rented gear a little longer, but we're pretty much at that point of needing to buy copper setups. So, all that being said, it just depends on how much silver you want to spend. The most affordable sort of setups that people talk about are going to be like your gold 60s or your alpha 8 or your alpha 6000s. I actually, for me, I prefer the step right above that one if you can afford it. There's a couple of 6000s that are sort of right above that gold 60 alpha 8 alpha 6000 range. I'll try to go by a store in a minute and kind of talk through it briefly. I need to be thinking about it for Santiago as well. Okay, we can use a carp hair rig on float now. That could be interesting. Get that ultralight carp going. You've been contemplating for days. Well, I would look at it on my copper, but copper's not is inflated prices, you know. So just give me a second. Soon as Bleak Bite is about to chill, so as soon as that happens, I'll walk up to the store and we'll look at it. Now everything won't be in stock here, but we can still at least talk about the options and the price ranges. This bucket spot has definitely slowed down for me, by the way. But we've been here for a while, so it's to be expected, I guess. It's not been awful, but it has slowed down, I think. Speaking of slowing down, that time of day. Where's the pike spot with Bleak? I'm actually not sure. I don't know if it's the same spot, like over there where we did it on M-Dog for a while. Or I heard someone saying something about using pike over in the like reeded area where we, you know, where we were trolling for pike at Ladoga. So I don't know. I got to look it up. Unless somebody has some information. I'm not sure where we're going to. I also don't have I don't have hooks and stuff yet. Yes, wait, what are you asking? Do I need Bleak? Is that what you're asking? Or are you asking? We're talking about where we're gonna fish for pike using all of these Bleak. But if you have extra Bleak, if that's what you're saying. Alright, we finally got a bite on both. Let's see if they're still Bleak. Okay, it is. So we'll go one more time. My record for first copper setup, save up. Oh, my recommendation for first copper setup, save up for Save up for Beluga. No, wait, hold on. Save up for West Hill Royal Feeder, I'm guessing that's what that's talking about. And Beluga Avia 6000. Yeah, if you want to save for a long time and get a rod and reel that will, you know, that you would use in any situation at Copper, that is a great recommendation. Now, that's a lot of silver. I would just say if somebody doesn't have access to Norway yet, that's asking for a lot of savings, right? Not that it's not possible, but you probably would save time in some ways by getting a cheaper setup and starting to make that copper silver. So I guess it just depends on how you want to approach it. But you're right. The setup you just mentioned, that would be one of my top setups for sure. I love the Avias. I'd say that's like top 2 or 3 6,000 reels for copper. But that is asking for a lot of savings. For copper, I'm using Wingate feeder and then Toro 6000. Yes. Okay, so that's one of my like budget recommendations for sure. Go with the Natura is one of the ones. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. I think we can safely, let's watch this one, see if we get one more. I like the Natura a lot. All right, I think that is a bleak, so we got a late night bleak. We're not going to be trophying bleak at this time for sure. That's right. If you're going to fish at Copper, PVA or spot, but it depends on the kind of spot it is, but PVA is a big deal. So I would write those 2 recommendations down. IS and Zane just gave really good copper recommendations in my opinion. All right, let's look at this real quick before I turn on my bleak into bait. Okay, so if you are thinking of copper, you're talking about a 6,000 reel. Like I said, some people will come in at the gold. Where's the alpha? Oh, there it is. The gold 60. So that's a max drag of 14, nice spool size. Or the alpha 6000. 13.5 max drag, nice spool size. So that's like, I think that's going to be your cheapest entry point. Now, let's talk about the 2 budget-friendly but slightly better options. This is probably more in line with what I would do on Santiago. Narga 6000. 13.6 compared to 14. Wow, that surprised me. Why do I like Narga over the gold? What's the, so 36, we've got 231. 36, we've got 251. So it's got a little bigger spool. Now it's not in stock, so we can't do the comparison on the prices. But I'm sure it's very close. For what it's worth, I lean towards the Narga over the gold, but it looks like it's about the same. The gold 60 is going to run you 1,800 silver. I assume the Narga is going to be maybe a little more, but similar. 1.9. Okay. So that's a good option. Now, I think I also really like the Natura. I like the way they look. Now, you're spending about 1,000 more silver per reel. I think. Something like that. The Natura, first of all, I think they look awesome. They're just like, I love the way this reel looks. Your spool is not quite as big, but it's plenty big for copper. So you do have to ask yourself, like, am I hoping to be able to use this at amber as well? Or is this really just for copper and bear, especially copper? I really like the Natura. More power and slightly smaller spool. but still comes into like the power fishing category. In my opinion, I don't know that there's a whole lot else worth talking about other than the next tier, which is the P series, which is probably a little underrated. Again, if you're just going to use it at copper, this reel is phenomenal. Now, I use the 3s on my main account, but in some ways I've thought about, do I want to put together a setup with these 6s? Just really good gear ratios, nice reels. But I would put them on about the same category as like the Azimuth Blue. So now you're getting into really strong 19 kilo, huge spool. This is going to be very similar to the Azimuth and the Avia. Where's the Avia? The Avia 6000. Not quite as strong max drag, but even bigger spool. You won't get spooled almost anywhere in the game if you have this sucker set up right, even on a 6000. These Avias are nice. And then, I don't know, like you could consider the Bestia. I usually don't for some reason, although they look awesome. So those 3 to me are kind of the top tier. If you wanted to go Bestia or Venga, technically those are nicer, but it's just, Venga especially, is just so expensive. This one is, I don't know what this is on par with. Ooh, Furia. Is that the new one? Do you have the silver for it? I guess get the Furia. I've not tried it. I mean, this is brand new stuff. I can't imagine having this kind of max drag on a spinning reel. See, my Avia, I've not noticed that dark hue. I don't lock mine. I don't know if people are locking them. I don't know what's going on with that. I have not noticed Avias to wear fast, but yeah, those are some nice reels. I don't know anything about the Furia though. So there's the reels. Now rods, I think rods is a lot harder. This is what I would tell you to do. Obviously you can't use a carp rod. Whatever reel you're gonna get, think about, okay, so how do I want to set this reel up? And another way you can think about that is what leader and lead core am I going to use? For copper, on the high end, people sometimes do like 27.2, but a lot of people do 22, 18, 20, or 22 on copper. And once you decide on that, you know what size line you need, what size leader you need. You're probably going to craft your own. But just as an example, like a 20.4 braided leader, 18, 22, 27, again, depending on what lead core you're doing. So you're going to craft your own carp leader, and then you sort of know, like, okay, so I'm wanting 22. Let's say you decided on 22. You decide you're going to save, you're going to get the Avias, and you want to be able to have up to 22 kilos of power. So then you go to the feeder rods and you say, well, whatever I get, it's got to be higher than 22. So like this Model 2 would be perfect. It costs 918 silver. You could max it up or you can max it out at 22, still be under the load capacity. But you got to remember, you're not ever going over 22 on this one. And as you wear it out, you'll have to even start, if you wear this thing out, 20% wear, then you got to start worrying about breaking it. So just stuff to think about. The Mekta goes up to 25. This one would also work if you know you're going to do 22. If you're going to do a little more than 22, Model 1. I think Model 1 is a safe purchase anyway if you've got the silver. Model 1s are great. Now, some people are talking about the Wingate. If you want bonuses, you could look at the Wingate. Wingate gives plenty of load capacity. You're not going to ever have to worry about, it'd be so long before you have to worry about wearing this out to the point of Goes up to 33.7. You don't care about the casting distance bonus on that one. Boonisons aren't strong enough, so you're not looking at those. So if you're going expensive, it's probably between the West Hill or all the way to Royals, which I don't remember how much these cost, but again, these give you really nice bonuses, plus 10 to bottom fishing. If you can afford these, you're going to be able to use PVA 10% sooner. I mean, this is like awesome. Plenty of load capacity. So that's like top of the line. So I don't know if any of that's helpful, but those are some of the like thoughts of. But one thing I really like doing is I really like starting with what kind of strength am I trying to use at copper? How am I going to set this up? And letting that give you some direction on what rod to get. So choose your reel, make sure it's got a comfortable spool size and the power you want to have at copper, how much you're willing to spend. And then based on that, you'll pretty much know what kind of rod you need to get. I agree, Disco. See if anybody else said anything. Avia is great. I use that on my alt for everything, including bear carp. Yeah, I agree. Avia, plenty of power for bear and copper. Aya says, I also use Avia for bear and amber, trolling at Quarry and other stuff, lasting fairly cheap to repair at Beluga Shop at Ladoga Lake. Use good oil from Volkov. Yeah, for sure. I run my Mechtas everywhere. Yeah, Mechtas are great. Super helpful. Glad to hear it. Yeah. You know, one thing to realize, I think, from all of this is that even though some of us have our favorite gear or whatever, the nice thing is at this point, there's not like there's a right answer. I mean, there's lots of really good options. And as long as another Crucian trophy, by the way, that's 4 trophies in this spot. As long as you kind of have the basics down of how to set up a rod without breaking it, and you understand like what's happening with the carp setups, the lead cores and all that. As long as that's the case, then there's a lot of good options. And it puts your bottom skill from 100 to 100. Yeah, that's right, Thrasha. If you're already maxed out, the Royals are still valuable. They're very valuable. Yes, and that's a good point, Disco. If you finish the challenges, don't sleep on the fact that you have a brand new Beluga Tagara 6000. It's got a really decent, nice spool, and you've got 18.1 max drag. You've already got one of the reels if you finish the challenges. I mean, that is a perfect, perfect copper reel. Top of the line, really. Yeah, I guess that's true. We didn't even talk about Tagaras. I don't really think of Tagara 6000s, but I mean, they are there and they're great. So that is a good point. Yeah, I guess we'll turn it into bait. We need to turn frogs into bait. Oh, we do have the roach. We didn't catch rough. We didn't do crucians. There is no leak order, but we still made 12 more silver. Oh, I sold the frogs, y'all. My bad. Is it better to get the Royals with the mid reel or Avias and Model 2s? Holy cow, what an interesting question. If you can get Royals, so here's the question. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Great point, Steelhead. We also did not even talk about the pickers. Now, I think in general, feeders are going to be cheaper. But if you're just wanting to use a smaller, the pickers are also nice. Um, so, Reeks, what percentage bottom fishing are you? Because the scenario that you're talking about is interesting because if you don't have 100% bottom fishing, those royals will allow you to use method sooner. They'll allow you to use PVA sooner. I mean, so I would go royals. If you can afford them, you're using PVA, you're getting the best of copper 10% sooner. I think that's a strong argument for getting those royals, Reeks, but again, there's lots of ways to think about this. All right, let me pull up Ladoga. I'm real curious if there is if there's any updates on best ways to approach the pike with. Here's somebody that did a video. It's like on. Okay, so first it shows where they're farming for smelt, which we could do that, by the way. What spot is this? 4967. They're catching smelt on something. And then now they're at 2645. Is that also for smelt? Looks like that might also be for smelt. Oh, but this is where they're pike fishing as well? Okay, this is where they're pike fishing as well. Do y'all know this spot? 2645, is that pretty common right now? 26, yeah, 2645. All right, do y'all know the clip there? Is that where we want to be? Brewski says I got my pike trophy there yesterday. You know the clip there? All right, I need to think about. Make sure we can set up this bait fish rig. Clip 18. I'm using clip 6, Dom, at copper. And what did we say this was? 2546 or thereabout. Yeah, that's a different spot, but let's try it. All right, bait fish hook. So, Brewski, what'd you catch it on? Welcome to the stream, by the way. Was that on, did you catch it on bait fish? Smelt? Okay. So now I think what I need to figure out is, what I need to figure out is, I actually don't know where this is. This is the first time I've been to Ladoga on this account, by the way. Santiago's never been here, I don't think. We need to craft some more let's see, classic leaders. So weird that it uses classic leaders on but it's whatever. So I think I'm gonna all right, so 2646. Where is that, chat? 26. Oh, it's out here. It's like boat ride. All right, and what are people catching the smelt on? It's all that it's mayfly larva, right? $49.67. Can you catch the smelt out near the pike spot or not? All right, we have 153 pieces, so we're good. Cafe dock. Cafe platform. But does anybody know if you can catch them out here? It'd be nice if you didn't have to move. You can get bleak in that pike spot on bloodworm. Oh, really? You can catch bleak? Okay, okay. Fishing's good, Wrangler. Fishing's good. I'm guessing this is it. Looks like they're just casting right. Actually, it looks like they're casting towards. Yeah, they're kind of casting. They're kind of casting like right over there, from what I'm seeing. All right, we're gonna try 19. We're just gonna really hope they don't start biting us off, you know. Can we even do this gibble without? No, it's way too heavy. But we could lower our weight size, I guess. Yeah, now we can do it. Okay. 18, huh? I actually can't see, like they're not saying what the clip is, and I also don't speak the language that they're speaking. I can tell you this, unless we get really lucky, we did not come with near enough bleak. And then we were going to check and see if we can get either smelt or bleak reasonably well right here. Oh, okay. Okay. That's a bleak. Keep the bleak farm going, huh? All right, so somebody was just saying, I guess we could also try the, what depth do y'all fish for the smelt at? Is that also the surface? All right, so Bomar, you're saying 66.59 at copper, huh? Like right here. No, it's not. It's right here. Like right near where I'm at. What bait are you using? Oh, bloodworm was better. Oh, that's right. You said bloodworm. Sorry, thank you. 66.60. Okay. So maybe that's the thing. You could catch, you know, some bleak out here while you're waiting, but also can go catch smelt, which the pike seem to really like as well. I wish I could find confirmation on the clip, but
That's a total spot. Back.
just stumbled upon a challenge. "30 centimeter depth on mayfly larva," by the way, it looks like what people are doing. Okay, so in this video, there is no clip that's listed. He's not clipped. He's just kind of casting somewhere between probably 15 to 20, 22, something like that. Dude, I love when somebody in the chat asks for the clip and somebody like answers like, "Are you too lazy to watch the video?" That's brutal. That's kind of brutal. All right, so we caught one at 18-meter clip. I mean, you probably could vary your clip a little bit, sounds like. Has anybody tried using steel leaders here? How much does that hurt the bite rate on pike? It hurts size. Well, I already got bit off on a 19. Seems like 19 is going to be too small. So I might default to 35 and see. Let's see if I have any worn out leaders over here. $27.2 would be pretty good too. Better than 19, I guess. You need 45. I could do 45. All right, let's see what we caught here. Common minnow. So I switched to regular worm just to kind of see, and I lowered it a little bit. I was just trying to see if there was any smelt at all around here. All right, the bite rate does seem really good on pike, and probably perch are here too, but just bummed how quickly we got bit off there. And I don't think that pike was anywhere near big enough, but it did have a little weight to it. So it's kind of like, I wish I could have seen what that was. But it immediately bit us off on 19, like it wasn't even close. Yo, what's up, Carrot? We got to watch our friction break now that we have these massive leaders on there. Okay, so there's a pike, 2.2. Okay, we finally did get a bite. Okay, it went away. Try again. I do bait fish at 35. A little bit slower bite rate on 55. You know, I don't mind the occasional, but the fact that that was our first decent sized pike and it already got bit off makes me a little concerned. It is nice that we got some more bait out here already, though. How cool is it that it's an option to go bloodworm or whatever and just like try to farm bleak while you're doing this? I wish we could hit smelt. I'd love to throw in some smelt as an option, but we'd have to move to the cafe, I think, to get a decent bite rate of smelt, it looks like. Alright, let's see what this one is. Wait. Bloodworm counts as larva, huh? decent size loves to jump out of the water after they bite. So without realizing it, I'm working on the larva one, I guess. Larva. So something else I guess we can do a little bit if we want to. Throw in different larvae and see how it goes. Too bad we can't turn common minnows into bait. That seems like a misfortunate... We have a pike on, we need to prioritize that. Alright, let's see what we got on this larva. How long does bait fish last for? I'm going to try to cast right in front of me instead of having to go at that angle. Let's see how long these bleaks. Does it say? It just says freshness 100%. I don't know, is it a couple days, y'all? If there's still freshness? Or at least a in real life day or a couple in real life days? I don't remember exactly. Yeah, that'd be cool, Darku. Alright. So hopefully, oh, fish got away? Wow, that was a sneaky bleak right there, y'all. Let's try this again. 24 hook. We could go fluorocarbon maybe. I don't know. 2 days, maybe 3. And of course, if you're on a grown-up account, you could also stand here with your, different lures, pike lures and such, and cast around this whole area for pike. You didn't want to have all 3 bait fish in. Yeah, jerk baits. If you have any of the angry walkers, you could try those kinds of lures. Yeah, maybe worth trying. If you're just trying to mix it up, see how things might work. Alright, maybe we should go try that salmon tuna spot. On copper. Wow, we're hitting 3 spines like crazy. I might go back to fly. That's a bleak. Have we tried pearl barley here? The nice thing about bloodworm is it does count as a larva, so if you get some bycatch, you're at least doing something on the challenges. 60% spinning during challenges. Ooh. All right, what do we have going on Pearl Barley here? This might be a roach or something. Look at that nibble fest. Complete nibble fest. All right, so this might be the downside of that. Catching gibbles. Gibbles and such. That was a nice size bleak, to be fair. All right, bleak seem to be doing pretty good here. Cannot complain. Yeah, jerkbaits. When I first hit jerkbait level and I got a couple of jerk rods, I bought one and then I realized I wanted the other one, so I got the other one. I thought it was going to be so exciting, so fun, really like focus in on pikes or whatever. I so rarely use those things. I'm going to put one at 20 and just see what that looks like. Good. Unfortunately, I just barely use jerkbait at all. Yeah, I hear you, Bomar. All right, 62.53. And we'll switch. I don't know, I don't know how much longer we'll go, but we'll go give it a run over there at the other spot for a little bit. See how that looks. How much silver did we make here? We've had, what, 2 or 3 cafe orders? So 111. I don't remember what the other one was, but it's... Oh, Gibble. Wait, can we do this without the trophy? No. 53. How much is a Gibble trophy worth? It might be worth it. Gibble trophy worth 1918. Yeah, it's probably worth it to go with the smaller of the trophy size. So that's 53 silver. So that's 160 silver plus 476. So 576, 640 something. Not bad. 640. Pretty good. Pretty good considering the temperatures and everything. All right, 62.53. And we're going to go with salmon. Yo, that's awesome, Seismic. Yeah, I did a little bit of jerk fishing on M-Dog, but I ended up getting it at Archie. All right, so we're doing salmon. 14. Salmon. Flavor purple. Isn't there a salmon, spicy salmon? And do I have a salmon copper stuff? Yes. What do you know? It's got salmon and tuna stuff in there. That should work great. And what did we say? Clip. Oh, we didn't say a clip, did we? Clip 10? Now, these people are casting... Okay, hold everything, chat. These people are actually casting like this at this white, this like straight north. Is that what y'all were doing here? Yeah, that's true, Bomar. Who was it that was talking about fishing here? I don't know that I've ever cast it straight north here at 6253, but we can try it. I mean, this is copper. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Let's just give it a go. All right. Gonna be, I think it's gonna be a lot of commons and stuff mixed in with our F1s, but we'll see. With these lower temps, we can't be too picky. I don't know. It seems like there's still several spots that are working at copper. I just don't, I think we're down to like 500 to 700 silver. I don't know that anybody's hitting 1,000 silver an hour like some people were doing the last few days, but it's still very good. And that bucket spot, according to what bait you're using, is hitting funny tench, and that's always nice. Lots of crucian gibble trophies. Now, the spot I'm at now on the salmon supposedly is going to give us better F1s, which I'm in favor of that. All right, there's salmon. We didn't have to. How many do I have of this? Plenty. I think we're plenty on everything else. Now, this should be a little slower bite rate since we're using boilies, but if the quality's there, then it's all good. Although the boilies are small, so it might not affect bite rate that much. Okay. Now we can continue with our random bleak fishing here, hoping that pike will start. Make sure we got nothing on. Nope, we're good. And we need a pike. I may recast. So we've been kind of casting right over there. I think I'm going to try casting, go back to 18, but I'm going to try casting not straight out, but a little more out this time. So we've kind of got one that's more in the reeds and one that's a little more adjusted towards the middle. Let's recast it just so that, I don't know. Sometimes recasting things seems like the way to go. Hey! Trophy Pike in chat. D6 to E6, Ladoga Archie. Nice. Alright. So the one that was closer to the shore, closer to the reeds, it got a bite. Oh, Deriza! Got your first card. And the Trophy Bleak. So, did you get that on Pearl Barley at Mosquito? Look at this. Chat making each other's dreams come true. Alright, that's 2 in a row. Oh my gosh, please don't snap my leader. Please don't bite through it. I just want to get one in here, not... Pearl Barley at Mosquito. I do not have sandwich bait. Okay. Guys, should I walk this down? I can't hardly pull it. I don't know that we can walk over there, though, to be honest. Is there actually a fish on? Can we not get up here? Oh. Is there an invisible wall here? This is not a nice fish, it's just stuck. I am not impressed with that, chat. I was not impressed with that. Alright, first fish at new spot at Copper. Coming right up. Whoa! Okay, Mr. Bleak. Whoa, it's a big bleak. We can't turn that into bait fish. That's the size of a perch. Like first fish might be mirror. What did the fish say when he swam into a wall? Oh. Mm. That's my favorite video of someone laughing. So good. E2. Is that one of the things he says? E2. Oh. So funny. What do you mean, Disco? What do I think of upcoming map? What do I think it'll be? What do I predict it'll be like? Is that what you're asking? Thoughts on map? Is that kind of what you're asking? What it'll be like? Well, let's see. I predict that it will not be a money farm. I don't think it'll be a silver farm. Not like Norway and copper. It'll be too low a level for that. I think that... I hope that bass fishing is like really fun. I mean, guess it might just feel like perch fishing. I don't know. How much, what will they do to differentiate it? We're catching some nice F1s over here, by the way. So far, so good. But hopefully the bass fishing will be good. Largemouth, smallmouth. Obviously that could be a lot of fun. You would expect there to be good bottom fishing, good feeder, good float fishing, and obviously spin fishing, maybe the best of all. I think there'll be at least 1 or 2 different species of catfish. I think there'll be sunfish. I don't know how you'd make an American pond map without there being some sunfish. So there should be some sunfish for lighter stuff. That's a nice pike, by the way. 4.9. That's kind of getting there. So yeah, I think if you have the expectation of mosquito, then that's probably a good starting point for your expectations. Let's hope. Now, if it ends up being like level 0 like mosquito is, I guess that's one thing. Let's hope it's a little bit differentiates itself from mosquito. When you think about some catfish species, sunfish, a couple different types of bass, again, we're just guessing. We're just guessing what you would like have to put in an American pond map in terms of species, right? But I would try not to have like maybe too high of expectations, but I'd be a little sad if it's like just like mosquito. That would seem like a wasted opportunity. But the question is, so based on how they were talking in that Q&A, and again, I haven't listened to it yet. I've just heard what y'all have said about it. It sounds like they're trying to prepare us by tempering our expectations, which makes sense. I mean, the last 2 maps we've had have been copper and Norway. If those are our expectations and it's a lower level map, then we're gonna be disappointed. But if we temper our expectations, it's just like such an opportunity. I don't know if they realize the opportunity. Sure, maybe they do, because they do have the office in the US now. But you have such an opportunity. If you do a really good job with bass fishing, you have an opportunity to pull in a crowd of people to your game that you would not pull in otherwise. I don't think they'll be musky. I think it's too small of a lake. And I think it's more of a like Midwestern lake, not a like Canadian lake or something. But that's just my guess. You think it'll be more in line with Old Berg than Mosquito? Lower level version of Copper? Well, I mean, it's not going to be... the thing is, it's not going to be koi, you know? It's not going to be carp. There could be a carp species, but I think that would be I think it would be a reasonable decision to not have carp. You could put carp. You could put, like, common and mirror, or you could just put 2 species of carp, but that shouldn't be the focus of it. Better to underpromise and over-deliver. I agree with that. I think the focus of it's going to be bass fishing and then catfish. And then you're going to do some sunfish for cafe orders and stuff on the side. Yeah, that's true. We don't know how big it is. But in my mind, it's more like the size of bear or a little smaller. Not like the size of... I was going to say not like the size of copper, but is copper and bear actually that different? You can only fish on one side of both. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in size, maybe that's what they mean. Maybe in size it's closer to Mosquito than any other map. I mean, when you think about it, Mosquito is actually a pretty good sized map. Because you can go all the way around it. This week, oh, no. We're months away from the new map. Like I've told y'all for the last week. That sneak peek of a picture, they're almost the same every time. You get a sneak peek of a picture, and then you get a little bit more information, and then eventually we'll get an actual flyover video. Then you know you're within weeks, not months, like maybe a week or two, something like that. But until you get that video, they're still working on things. It could be literal months. It might be like we're back in school in the fall before this map comes out. Just depends on how things go, right? So, will there be a tackle store? Will there be a cafe? Those are good questions. If it's like a Midwestern pond like or lake like I'm envisioning, you could argue it's out in the boondocks, out in nowhere, kind of like Bear is. I just don't know if at this point they would put a map in like Bear without a cafe or shop again. That feels like something that they've moved past, but we'll see. I don't think... Yeah, July 4th would have been good. Yeah, that's a good point. American Pond, July 4th, let's go. I just never thought that it would be anywhere near the time that we're doing these challenges. It just makes too much sense that you would spread that out a little bit. But yeah, I like July 4th. That's a cool idea if it's ready that quick. Wait, so what? Wait, whoa. What are we saying? Captain Furious, I'm curious about this line of thinking. Do you think if a map comes out that doesn't have a shop in it, people are more likely to not spend gold versus just going to Volkov or wherever that does have a shop and spending gold there? This has been happening all day. I thought it was just Volkov, but it's actually been happening all day. Oh yeah, there's definitely catfish. This is where I am for pike. It's like 25, 45. And I think that there will be gear restrictions at this map. I think there will be some sort of gear restrictions. The gear restrictions might be more focused on spin fishing than anything else. Like spin fishing and bait casting. Like it could be ultralight only, or I don't know. I think it'll be something. But I see what you're saying, Captain Furious. And again, I doubt that they would do a new map, a big map they're releasing these days. I don't think they're going to release another map that doesn't have a shop. I mean, we got a shop in Yama. There's no more out in the boondocks, middle of nowhere than Yama, right? And there's a shop there. All right, Trophy F1. I love catching. Trophy F1s, considering they're not that hard to catch, it's amazing how it's like one of my favorite trophies to catch. I think for me, it just represents such fun. There's been such fun times at Copper with like 1 or 2 F1 chances an hour, you know. So I'm glad that happened. That's pretty cool. By the way, folks, tomorrow is going to be more of a daytime stream. Is what I'm anticipating. So, starting a little earlier than we did today, and looks like we'll be doing pike fishing. I don't know. Maybe we'll be trying to catch those trophies on ultralight with the bleak and the smelt, and hanging out with the pike again. That's how it's looking. I have thought about, just because it's been a while, and fishing for pike, this would be a good opportunity to do that. If we really farm for bait fish for like a couple days and get a bunch, I could actually move Santiago over to the smaller screen for pike fishing. And then we could go to Norway on M-Dog. I haven't fished at Norway in ages. So, I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll see what else is hot tomorrow. But I would enjoy like a good couple hours at 34 or 41 or something. Wait, the new fish that will be on this new map will not be on other maps? Is that what you're saying? Okay, things like that does make me want to see this video. Hopefully, at some point. Oh, VOD is up. Okay, guys. Let's pull this out of the water. Let's do a little reaction video here. And apparently it starts at 27 minutes. Thank you for the information, by the way. All right, let me figure out how I can set this up so it makes sense. We hear a pike get on, we'll just have to I want to take the time to like clip it and do all that other stuff. I mean,
You giving us the fish? Is that
Alright.
part of your job? Giving us the fish and deciding who gets what?
here it is.
Well, Levo, I think you can't hide any longer.
Yeah, it's me, guys. Sorry if I didn't manage to give everyone a nice trophy that they wanted, but I will try my best for the future.
The funny thing is, I actually got a couple of questions on that submitted. Can they give me the fish?
You wouldn't believe how many requests we got over the years.
I have not Crazy Friday. That'd be really fun. Try to do that.
Yeah. No, we
It
can't.
will be a lot, yeah.
Yes, once and for all, no, we can't. And even if we could, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting a dream,
That's Levo's voice,
fish, just blame Levo, guys. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds fair.
right?
Just so you guys know, we're recording it and it goes up on the VOD. So yeah, we got it. No, we got it on tape.
Absolutely. Yes. We are just joking, right?
And that's Joe.
Oh, are we?
Yes, we are joking, guys.
Levo?
Of course, it has nothing to do with us, and all the accounts are the same. Sometimes just people need to sit on the spot for a little longer, or maybe try different baits, and the trophy fish will come.
Okay, this is a good moment for us to think about. Y'all know that we were talking about this yesterday. Perch swears that if he goes and fishes the same spot I am at Copper, he not only doesn't do as well, but he actually almost catches nothing. Like no F1s, no dinks. I mean, he might catch a couple common or mirrors, but they just clearly said what I've always heard and always believed, that there's no difference in any accounts. There's no difference no matter which entry point you're coming in from, like Russia, China, North America, Europe, whatever. So it's just interesting. And when I hear someone like Perch's situation, it's not, I mean, I believe Perch. Perch has been around forever, but it does make me, I wish I could play on Perch's account. I wouldn't. I know that's against terms of service or whatever. I'm not saying that's what I want to do, but it's just it's hard for me to believe it. I want to see it with my own eyes.
The dream trophy fish.
Yeah, I think we all.
Yeah, but we're not talking about trophies. What I'm talking about, we're talking about he can't catch the same species that I am. He's getting 2 to 4 fish an hour. I'm getting 100 fish an hour or 60 fish an hour. It is so different. It's not just RNG. Something's got to be going on there, or I'm missing something. I don't know.
Frustrating. It gets frustrating at times when you have, especially new players coming to a spot and sitting there 5 minutes, they get the fish that you've been spending 100 hours on. But
Yeah, absolutely.
end of
Look,
the day,
it-
that's the charm of the game as well, though. So that's
Yeah, not
Yeah.
just of the
That's
game
not
of
a problem.
fishing, right? It wouldn't be fishing if that wasn't the case.
Sure.
You would be, there's something off here. This is just too easy,
How long
not
is this
doing
gonna
it all the
last?
time.
It's like if we want to be guaranteed the fish that we're going for, Minecraft has a decent fishing for that. So no, it's
Fallout
Chan-
76 is
By the way, there was a chance there to take a shot at another fishing game. Probably nice that Joe decided to go with Minecraft instead.
also releasing a pretty
At Copper, I'm using 10-meter clip.
oh really?
That actually looks really good. I have to say, I was quite surprised because usually these
That's Joe,
these
right?
add-ons are very basic, but some thought was put into this, so it looks cool.
Oh nice.
Yeah. By the way,
How's that,
chat,
Joe?
since there's a lot of you here, you guys broke our Steam record again at the end of May. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. I think it's especially noteworthy as 25 is one of the more spectacular years when it comes to game releases. I think we might have seen the Game of the Year already, for example. There was some pretty spectacular stuff in there. And just to see, that there's still enough room for us and that it's growing and that people are staying with us, that's tremendously motivating. So thank you guys. Heartfelt thank you. It's fantastic.
That's cool. I think that's Joe's voice. Somebody correct me if you know different, but I really like it when he talks that way. There's humility. There's also a recognition of we're paying attention to other games. You know, he referred to a game that just came out recently that's probably game of the year. And you know, you probably know what that is, but I think Joe, I've always enjoyed Joe. I just really like his personality, his humility, and his perspective on stuff.
Fantastic.
I think it also shows that you guys are doing something right as far as it goes with the qualifications and also some of the new stuff that you're bringing in all the time. Every single time that there is something, we see people coming back, and we as streamers see that as well. Whenever there is something new coming out, the whole community explodes, and the challenges really ties people together. We are cooperating in Discords, trying to like share information on how to find the find the fish for the challenges. And even though it's a little bit of ranting because things are difficult, end of the day, it's bringing everyone together, and I've seen it in our in-game chat as well. It's been buzzing since you guys came out with the update, and I remember I pinged you guys as well that everyone was flocking back because there was new stuff coming in.
Yeah,
So,
that's just
Yeah, that's
fantastic to
great.
see. And
Yeah.
I can tell you that our developers are seeing that as well. And it's you
Sure.
know, if you work on something for such a long time, it must feel incredibly gratifying to see that people enjoy it. And yeah, well, thank you. But we can talk a bit more specifically maybe about the challenge system and also maybe the new card system, get a bit of your feedback, see what aspects you like, what aspects you might not be super crazy about. That could be interesting, for example.
yeah, I think as far as the challenges, I've seen from my perspective at least, I've seen two splits.
Holy cow! Trophy F1, Trophy Cusk, Trophy Crucian, Gibble. Look at Tenacious T, Common Ghost Carp. Wow. What a fish. Got a question. What's a good catfish setup? I just need a good rod. Yo, what the heck? What's up, Lake Trout? Nice to see you. I can show you, actually I have to do it on my main account. Let me do this really quick. Because I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't actually think about catfish setups that often in this recent times. All right, the Barracuda, if you want to go spinning, I've got the spinning Barracuda SPM 88H. Got a load capacity of 95. Basically, you're just looking at anything that gets you up to that, you know, 90 to 100 range, I guess. I'd have a lot more bait casters that would work. So I've got the Barracuda caster as well, 95 load capacity. I've got the Ultima, which goes up to 142 load capacity. The Ultima's awesome, obviously. The cheaper one that I do like as another option is the Rocket, Zyman Rocket. As long as you're okay at maxing out at 89.9 load capacity, I think the Zyman Rocket is worth giving a look as well. But frankly, there's not that many rods that have a high enough load capacity, so you're probably looking at one of those. I could be missing one or two because I haven't purchased one for catfish in a long time, and I don't know, they may have added new equipment that I'm not thinking of. But by the way, guys, this is good. I mean, there are some nice F1s coming out of this spot at Copper. 62, 61, 62, 53, clip 10. We are casting more north than usual for what it's worth.
In the community, some people don't want to spend time on it. They just want to fish and
Players who want to achieve something, get this feeling of achievement. Or maybe the special designed items that are coming every year, but they are different. And they like to collect them. There is something to do as well. Of course, we loving the feedback that you guys are happy with it, and a lot of players are coming back for the challenges into the game. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think overall the overall feedback that I'm getting on the challenges is positive. Of course, there are some people that feels that they are too challenging. They take a lot of time. And some people, of course, like you said, it should be something that people feel that they can do if they want and not being forced into. There's always completionists in a game, and some people always feel that, oh, there's something new, I need to complete them. And I think I fall under that category to some extent, but it's
Me too,
in a
yeah.
fun way. It's like it's not something that, given that we have 60 days on it, I don't feel that it's something that I need to sit down and spend too much time on. But of course, we've had folks that, like, I think it was last summer when we had the 7-year anniversary, people were struggling with the Atlantic salmon. And we had some people that got really frustrated with it at the end. But
Yeah.
of course,
We
when you
saw
start
that as
seeing
well.
when you start seeing that the timer goes down towards 0 days, of course. But it's
Yeah.
a bit of the challenge as
But
well.
it's a bit of challenge, yes. Yeah, that's why when we're designing these challenges, this task with very very low level gear, and took me hours to land.
That guessing work out a bit. Yeah, but you guys are obviously on the right track. And since we have already posted the first teaser picture, usually that means that we are not that far from release.
Interesting. Nice.
So of course we're not gonna give you the date, guys, but as Joe said, it's close. So
Nice.
keep watching the news, and you will find out.
Will we be getting a teaser like we did last time, where we had
Of course.
a trailer for it?
We always do.
Or
That's
is that-
very possible, yes.
very possible. Okay.
Very possible.
Although I have to say that this time we are running out of time considerably with a lot of internal tasks and stuff. We will try, but I think you will.
Oh, that's fascinating. Did y'all hear that? That's fascinating. I kind of see what, was it you, Dark Hugh? Somebody was talking about like reading in between the lines with some of the stuff they're saying. So basically they always release those, flyover videos. They're usually really well done. They oftentimes have original music. But there's a timer. Sounds like there's a timer. They're trying to get this map out. They haven't gotten that video done yet, maybe. That's kind of affecting things. So maybe we don't get the video, or maybe the video feels like it's rushed or not quite as produced as some of the other ones have been. We need a new C map. I think a new C map is coming. I feel like it will be. But that's a big undertaking. But my hope is, now that we've got American Pond, my hope is that the next C map could be somewhere else in the world, maybe even around Florida or something like that. All right, let's see what I have on the line here before it like breaks our line. Looks like we have 2 small picon. July 4th theory confirmed. Yeah, that makes that feel a lot more possible, doesn't it? That makes that feel a lot more possible.
There was also a question, will there be more map restrictions, or will it be open for people to fish with what
They're not
they
going to
want
answer
and
this
how
question,
they-
right?
Well, I don't want to give away too much yet.
Of course not.
We did talk a bit already about the fact that this will be a starter level water buddy, right? Because we want the entry for players. Maybe there's more interest in US players in this, for example, and if they enter.
This is what I'm saying. This is why this first American pond map or American lake map is lower level. They're trying to attract more people. They're trying to market it almost. And they want the barrier to entry to be so low. It's a free-to-play game. New players can pick up the game relatively quickly, get to bass fishing. I think it's smart.
The game fresh, we want them to have a chance to experience this type of content early on. So this will be you could kind of look at it as a place where you get familiar with these fish species, very similar to Mosquito Lake, right?
Okay, yeah.
Where you get your first experience, you run to your first fights, maybe.
Okay. Someone else earlier said that they talk about that the species that are going to be on this new map are not going to be on other maps, at least not in the beginning. So what an interesting idea that the American Lake map is going to be an introduction to certain species, just like Mosquito introduces you to certain species. What does Mosquito introduce us to? Carp? Mostly, right? Gibble, crucian, tench, common mirror, goy, whatever it's called. So, yes, that's a great example, Steve. So is American Pond going to be, yeah, bream. Is American Pond going to be introducing us to bass? Largemouth, smallmouth? Striper? I mean, I don't know. What, like, is that kind of the idea? What is meant by that comment, do you think? I mean, I think it'd be a stretch to say like, oh, well, we're going to be introducing you to sunfish, like crappie and stuff, but absolutely, Seismic, I'm with you on that one. Or is this an introduction to new types of catfish? That's a good question too. But again, if they're going to do catfish that are actually, I mean, there's got to be gear restrictions. Got to be gear restrictions. Blue cats, bass and crappie fishing is your dream.
That you cannot win stuff.
Should
like
be
that,
fun.
Fine tune your equipment. It's gonna be about that, but also about, you know, there's a specific list of fish that almost every member of our team wants in the game, right? And wants to experience, like, fighting them in our gameplay framework with these physics and the realistic fish behavior.
They're talking about
And some of the
bass.
fish that have always been very high on that list will be in this update, so we are looking forward to it as well.
Okay. I mean, obviously bass is what they're talking about. Do you think they're talking about other species? Different species of catfish? I think they're talking about bass mostly. Oh, yeah, Jason, that's not this map, but that has been my dream, my hope for this game for years now, that they would come out with a map that, even if, like, I mean, I've gone pretty far with this idea. I've thought about how could you do it. Look at this fish, guys. Sorry, you can't see it, but we doubled up on F1 trophies pretty quickly. So it's like the developers of RF4 basically saying, hey, yeah, that's true. Big channel cats, that kind of stuff. But the developers of RF4 basically saying, hey, we think that the mechanics of fishing in our game is better than any other fishing game. We want people to be able to experience one of the most popular types of fishing in the world, bass fishing, with our mechanics. I mean, I think that's kind of what we're saying, but might be catfish too. I don't know.
Yeah, very exciting, guys, for us as well when testing and designing the map. Yeah, because we want to experience something different. You know, if we are focused here, based in Europe on some fish species, we wanted to experience them, you know, in game as well.
Walleye. See, walleye. I mean, some of that would imply that this is like a Canadian, like a way north in the Americas. You know, at least in the very northernest part of the U.S. or up into, I mean, that's just not the impression that I got from seeing the picture, but I could be totally wrong.
So that's...
Well, deep sea fishing's in the game. Now, they don't have deep sea fishing in Florida specifically, but they've got deep sea fishing. Fly fishing, they've been working on for years. It's not ready. We'll let you know when it is, kind of thing. Exactly, Kephius.
Uh,
As soon as I saw it, I said, that's the Midwest. That's some random lake, small lake in the Midwest. There's going to be bass, there's going to be catfish, and there's going to be sunfish.
the chance for us, but of course,
Walleye are in Ohio. See, I could be wrong. I've never been to Ohio. I have impressions of what a lake like that would have in it, but I could be wrong. It could be walleye. You could be totally right.
for you all to try different. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Yeah, it's gonna be different.
Yep. There was also a question here about where in the states it will be located.
I think we're gonna let that be a surprise.
Okay, cool. Yep. Oh yeah, Greg has
What I can
So Joe is usually pretty careful with his wordings. We're going to let that be a surprise. That means we'll find out eventually. My whole take on seeing that lake was that maybe they don't ever tell you where it is exactly. It's just the American lake, you know?
What I can tell you is, although I think our 3D artists have been knocking it out of the park with the fish species anyways, I think these ones look particularly awesome. We looked at them I think last week, and every single species looks just amazing. So even that is something to look forward for, I think.
Okay, so the new species should be awesome. Yo, thanks, Wrangler. All right, so stakeout, if you want to not get cut off, the easy answer is steel, but that's going to cut your bite rate down. The more realistic answer for a lot of situations is you got to use a higher, stronger fluorocarbon leader. So you just heard, or earlier Wrangler said, if he's fishing for pike, he never goes lower than 45. I personally use 28 a lot, but you can get cut off still. You can get cut off at anything. The higher you go, the less likely you are to get cut off, but just remember, you can always get cut off.
Very nice.
Okay, I got the question from chat from Greg 3000. Will the new fish will be introduced in?
Royal says American Lake could be South America. Did it look like South America to you though, Royal? I mean, I get like people keep saying America doesn't mean the US. Like, I realize it could be anywhere in North America or South America. But the picture that they released looked like mid-America as in the US. To me, I could be totally wrong, but that's just what the picture looked like. Wait, what lake do you want me to show a picture
On
of?
maps as
Teo?
well. For example, bullheads are spread all over Europe waters. At the moment, our idea is to introduce this new fish species
On Polish stream, they say North America. Yeah, that fits with the picture.
on the new map.
It could be
And
Canada,
as Joe
but
mentioned before, this will be like a start. So some of these fish species we might see in the future, maybe with the bigger sizes as well, somewhere else. But at the start, we're gonna see them on the new water body.
so again, we're saying the same thing again, but basically, just like Mosquito introduces some key species of this game, American Pond is going to introduce some key species of the game for the future.
Nice. I see Lockheed has a question here. Which dev accidentally put koi in mosquito?
What is
I
Lake
think it's-
Fort,
it's less
Texas?
of an accident and more of a of an early teaser, maybe I would say.
So that's east of Fort
good
Worth,
point.
Dallas.
Good point.
Interesting.
Very similar question we have with
That's a great guess, Steelhead. That's fascinating. How is the new... Hold on. How is the new koi and mosquito a teaser? Does anybody understand what that could be referencing to? Again, Joe's pretty careful with his words. In my experience. very well-known large black bass lake. Teaser for koi in game like copper? I mean, we already have copper. We already have koi in game, right? Why would you add one to Mosquito as a teaser for something? Based on something else that's coming? More koi in or other maps, but it's early to say. They're going to add more fish to other maps. Oh, okay. So not so much the koi. You're thinking steelhead. It's just like, remember, we're going to be adding species to different stuff. IS, you think it'll be in Alabama? I'll tell you what, where I live, I'm pretty close to some pretty amazing bass fishing. Some of them are in Alabama. Some of them are in Tennessee. Some of them are in Florida, but that's interesting. From a new player perspective. Oh, Bomar, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's a good interpretation. You come to Mosquito as a new player, you spend hours and hours fishing there, and in that time you got the koi one time, and it's a teaser for, if you keep playing this game, this is the kind of fish you'll be able to catch later on.
Couldn't touch before, so
Yeah.
I actually think that's a cool interpretation.
you know, surprises.
Yep. Another one here is Mosquito getting reworked.
That's a good... Is Mosquito getting reworked? How many times do we want to rework Mosquito? Leave poor Mosquito alone.
I guess you already
no,
did
not-
that.
not
That is
at the
already a
moment.
reworked map,
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's- Yeah, we are happy with the state of that water body. There are other water bodies that need a rework.
Interesting, IS.
More
Interesting.
desperately, in our opinion, and one in particular will probably happen relatively soon.
I was happy with the first one.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Steelhead asked here.
Wait, what did Joe just say?
The new water body.
Nice.
What's up, Raggy? Delete
I see
Corey.
Lockheed has a question here. Which dev accidentally put koi in Mosquito?
Crap. How far did I go
I
back?
think it's less of an accident and more of a of an early teaser, maybe I would say.
Ah, good point. Good point.
Very similar question we have with the golden tench before. So
Yep.
you know,
Golden
surprises,
tench.
surprises.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Another one here is Mosquito getting reworked. I guess you already
No,
did
not-
that.
not
That is
at the
already a
moment.
reworked map,
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's- Yeah, we are happy with the state of that water body. There are other water bodies that need a rework more desperately, in our opinion, and one in particular will probably happen relatively soon.
Okay. That might be an indication of what happens after American Lake. The rework of Bear or Sura. New koi map incoming? Japan map? I don't think so. I don't think that's...
Yeah, it's like
I don't see that this year. That'd be cool, but I don't see that this year.
Yeah.
Steelhead asked here as well. Sura is in dire need of a remake, and I think kind of maybe Tuba could need a facelift as well. Not necessarily so much on the functionality side, but maybe more on the graphic side.
Possibly, yeah.
So, but
Possibly.
yeah, yeah.
Although that's a rather big map with a lot on it,
Yeah,
and we are
yeah.
happy that it's running at all, on our system. So, but yeah, we will have
Again, I love Joe. I gotta get me a t-shirt.
we will have a closer look, and surely some of them are beginning to show their age after
Yeah.
7 years, which is
I think
Can't
Tuba,
be
after especially after the competition that you guys have been running on Tuba, I think the map works extremely well. So I think if something should be done on that, it should have been more like cosmetics and maybe like travel-wise, not so much on the fishing.
well, that's a big internal discussion. You wouldn't believe how many times we discussed a small bridge over this one canal, just so you can get to the big island. But
It's,
everyone has their opinions.
Of course, but the map works really well, and we spent a lot of time on there, especially during the competition. So I think a lot of folks are really happy with that one. So,
Yeah, but you know, a few maps we'll do with small facelift and you know, small changes, and that's in the works for the future as well. So again, not only new maps that are planned, but also some old maps might be, you know, upgraded, changed, facelift.
Allow me a quick disclaimer, Cypher. These questions about administrative stuff, account questions, why didn't I get transferred? Why was I blocked and stuff like that? Please respect that we cannot discuss this on a
I'm with you. I'm very nervous about the idea of trying to rework Tuba. I think Tuba's great.
stream because we don't want to do that in public. Contact us on our email addresses, and we will help you clear up any issues there.
Perfect. Yep. There's actually two other questions on maps that came in, and it's two people asking pretty much on the same thing. In regards to the Norway map, was a huge success. That's I still think that's the biggest and best update that you guys ever did.
Agree. Yes.
But still, you guys are doing a lot of good things after that as well. But it's still, there's something special with that release. And the question has been, will we see any more ocean maps? Will we see more sea fishing?
Of course.
Is there anything in the works on that side?
Of course.
I mean, it's safe to say that we also all fell in love with that map a bit on
That's
the
right,
development
Steelhead.
team. And I would be extremely surprised if we were done with that topic. Extremely surprised.
It's still like the map is, even now after, what is it, like almost 2
Oh
years,
gosh. Okay, so
the map is
this
just
is where
and of course it helps when you guys keep releasing new stuff. It's been gear releases, it's been more fishes.
I mean, look, I would be way worse. I'm not trying to say it, but I think the thing you would love to see in this moment is just really continue with the questions to keep Joe and Levo talking, and less of the conversation about like how good this and that is.
It keeps dragging us back to the map, and I think for most of us, there's a lot of challenges left to be had on that map. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean, ocean fishing, of course, the possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like sometimes this feels like being a child in a sweet store, right? And it's like, okay, I want this and this and this. And the dev team is like, yeah, but how are we supposed to do all that, guys?
Yeah, overall, guys, there is a lot more plans for almost everything. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of possibilities and a lot of new nice stuff you will see in the future.
Awesome.
And talking about those kind of things, I've noticed that the game is more and more stable. How are you guys doing on the back end? Like,
Oh, don't jinx it, Cypher.
no. But all in all, like even after you guys turned on the chat, which of course we've seen some issues still on the chat side of things. Not everyone is seeing catches and those kind of things, but I was kind of surprised. Yeah, we had some problems during the last update, and we had a bit more downtime than announced. But all in all, the server's been running great after.
I'll work on updating the Discord
that's mostly
invite.
the
I'm not
backend
sure what's
stuff,
going
yeah.
on with that.
Yeah,
Let me-
It's going really well, and that's mostly contributed to our administrative head of administrative of server structure and everything, Alex, who I think is a genius. That man.
I've never heard of
And,
Alex. That's awesome.
Yeah, we needed to take some time to get these systems under control. Chat first and foremost. But the way he did that now, and the stability that we were luckily able to test because there were so many players at the end of May, and put a real stress test on it, and it worked wonderfully. So big shout out to our head dev Alex.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how little issues we had after that last update. Yeah, we were down and there was a couple of patches, but all in all,
Okay, here is an updated Discord invite. The first one that I actually posted there, and I'm gonna go to Moobot and see if I can update it there as well. I don't know if the problem is on your end or my end, but I will go ahead and update my Discord invite in chat so that hopefully this won't happen again. Custom commands, hash, exclamation point, Discord, which is right here, edit, response. We'll change it to this one. Save. All right. That is now saved. So anytime you see, anytime you see an update, hopefully that'll work now. No mention of ghost snags.
That was pretty impressive with all the new stuff and the amount of people that came in. So yeah, like I said, it was a good test.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we're very happy with it as well. So yeah.
I've heard some rumors about people saying that chats with over 150 people are having problems still with the chats. Do you guys know if there is any limits here? Is there anything that's like if we go above X amount of people in chat, we're having more issues than others, or?
I've heard 300, but it might be a smaller number. I'm not 100% sure.
Good question.
We are aware that they can become buggy once a certain number has passed.
Okay,
Has
yeah.
been passed.
Yeah.
We're going to keep an eye on that and work on it. Maybe even thinking of
Snags are
rewriting
frustrating?
this,
Yeah, they are.
Chat system completely, but that's something that's a bit further in the future.
Yeah.
But
Reworking chat system completely. Okay, interesting.
we are definitely looking at this. Yes.
Yeah, because we're seeing in the Vikings chat, we actually do not see, we don't see each other's catches. It's just random if we see one other person every now and then.
yeah,
So
okay.
of course we see we see our own, but not each other's. So, but yeah, we can actually do some testing on that. I think we can slim down the chat a little bit and see if we can figure that one out.
Yeah.
There's also some utility stuff that came in. There was asked about the coffee and tea making. Basically, is there ever going to be something in the game as far as like bulk crafting? Because we see it with making coffee and tea, leveling some of these crafts, making bigger portions of ground baits and stuff. Will there ever be some sort of a function to do bulk crafting?
Well, let me.
Is he saying bulk? I think that's what he's saying. Like, try to craft 100 things at one time. I guess that would be cool. I mean, is that only if you've already leveled up your crafting to 100%? You're not trying to level it anymore?
Let me give you a small peek behind the scenes. There is probably like in any company when it comes to decisions.
Different
like this,
priorities.
There's two. There's two tribes almost, right? There's the more like real life fishing guys who say no, this is unrealistic, and this needs to be immersive. And then there's the more gamey people who say, yeah, well, but nobody enjoys crafting 150 coffee, right? So it's something that we're actually discussing. I cannot sadly give you a definite answer on that. I personally, gonna be honest, belong to the more gamey part where I think we have enough deeply immersive systems in the game that we could get away with having some of them be a little less that, but of course that this needs to be a group decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I do agree personally.
I'm in the middle, guys. I'm split because realistic feeling needs to be in the game, and of course I know you guys want the bulk crafting and bulk sending and everything, but there's also like in life, sometimes I, for example, hate shopping, but I need to go very so often, So yeah, like with everything, if we hopefully able to find balance, that might be the best answer.
So
We will see.
end of the day, the best thing for the community is probably to try to think of a way to make those two things meet and submit it in as
Yes.
yep.
I've got a suggestion on this. Tell me what y'all think about this. If you want to keep the immersion, don't change the amount of time that it takes to craft that coffee or tea. Just take the button presses away. Let me go set up something to craft coffee for a while. Like you've put enough ingredients for it to, continue to craft for a while. And it still takes the same amount of time, but I don't have to be there clicking that button myself every, 1.5 seconds. I don't think that would be, again, like, we're not really simulating how someone makes coffee by opening a menu and pressing a single button every 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, what does that have to do with crafting coffee? But it doesn't have to be like, you know, some games you can say, yeah, I want to craft 100, and then you hit craft, and it crafts one time and all 100 are made. I mean, I think you could kind of have a middle ground there where it's like, yeah, you just let it, I mean, it's the same thing as I think RF4 should go to having little traps or stuff that you stick out, you try to catch mussels or crabs or I don't know, whatever, traps for baits or something, some types of baits, I don't know. And same kind of thing with that. I mean, it's going to take a certain amount of time to gather it or to do its thing, but you don't have to be in a menu pressing it over and over. That's just my opinion. I'm fine with Levo making my coffee. Yeah, I mean, however many it is, and I don't think it has to be like a huge number. Even if it was, I mean, think of how much coffee just making one thing gives you, how many sips that is. Even if it was just like, yeah, you can do boil a big pot of coffee and you get 20 instead of 1 or something. Yeah, I mean, and it could be a silver sink. You could have to buy a bigger one or something, but it's just getting away from one at a time, sitting in a menu, clicking buttons over and over. In my opinion, that's just like what I would think about.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Use the suggestion box.
Yeah, that's right,
Or-
Droz. That's a good call.
I saw a question about the competitions in the game competitions. Yes, in the future, we hope that we're gonna see some changes to the competition system, not only to the competition system, but maybe other tasks around it as well. Of course, there will be positive changes, but that's for the future as well. It's not finished. Same as Joe mentioned with the chat, this is not final product, guys. Hopefully, in the future, we will change it for better.
Nice. Will that also include like maybe merging the tournaments from the
Espresso.
like, tournaments and the in-game engine? Will that be brought together or some or?
I mean, potentially, that's definitely a goal. It's tricky because again, it puts pressure on data banks, right? And this external system is less so, but it causes other problems. So I think long term we are striving for this in-game solution, but of course without compromising the stability of the game, right? So this is one of the points where if it's when it becomes possible, we will probably integrate it. By the way, I'm aware that some of these questions answers are not like super satisfying, but one of the issues we have is we don't want to give exclusive
That's right, Raggy.
information to just one part of the community, right? And be
Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting.
sure that there's, for example, maybe some Chinese players watching here or Russian players watching here that do speak English, and they will, of course, talk to their communities as well. And we don't want it to feel like unfair, right? Like we are providing info here that other regions might not have gotten yet. So we're going to be a bit careful with that. And then instead talk about it once it's out and get your feedback on it.
So that's really interesting. I'm trying to understand logically how that would work. It seems to me that typically information has been presented to Russian or German streams or videos or interviews, and then we will sort of hear about it. I mean, it's got to start somewhere, right? So it's interesting that, you know, they feel the need to sort of be careful in the English speaking stream because they don't want to say something that hasn't been shared in another stream or in another language location. But you got to start somewhere. I mean, you know, you're going to say it first somewhere and then you're going to repeat it somewhere else, right? So I don't know, logically, I'm just trying to understand how that would work. So we made 678 silver in just under an hour. I actually think that salmon spot at Copper, the second one, was probably better than the first, unless you're just really wanting a chance of that funny tench. But trophy F1s are hard to pass on. So, okay, guys, I think I'm going to stop here. Because there's not like huge breaking news, Hey, Gratz Lane. That's a big deal. 100% bottom fishing. I don't know that I will continue to listen to this. Maybe I'll just spot check it in a couple places, but we'll see. I mean, they haven't, like y'all said, there hasn't just been a lot of like great information. As I said before, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I was planning on being on a little earlier tomorrow, so we'll hopefully have a morning start time. But thank you all for the support. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Dark You, for sending me the information about where the VOD was as well. Best of luck. Tight lines, everybody. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but hope y'all have a good rest of the day.